Okay. Put it down in 3, 2, 1. I'm Rob Strand. It's time for my weekly visit with State Representative Adam Luster, Democrat from Frontenac, and the guest this morning, Jim Ward, a Democrat out of Wichita. And good morning, gentlemen. And I guess we survived the super blue blood moon, and now it's back to work, right?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Rob. How are you?
Good morning, Rob.
No complaints, doesn't do any good. And we want to quickly go last Sunday. A number of the gubernatorial hopefuls were in Pittsburgh, and how did that go?
I thought it went fabulous. We had great energy in the room. We had a lot of people show up on a beautiful Sunday afternoon to talk about the future of Kansas. The questions were good. I think it was an all-around great event.
And it's oftentimes nice to get out to different parts of the state to get some input, isn't it?
Yeah, and the last 10 days have been to Garden City, Colby, Abilene, Topeka, Pittsburgh, and Lawrence. Kansas is a big place with a lot of diversity.
And speaking of diversity, after 3 this afternoon, there's going to be a new governor.
You call it the supermoon is indicative of that because it is lunacy.
I see. Well, it was on the horizon. Now it is here. There's going to be a changing of the guard. Do you see anything dramatic as far as the change goes?
Now, what's the old saying? New boss, same as the old boss. The only good thing is for the last 6 months, the question around Kansas has been, who is the governor? Well, I think at 3 o'clock today, we'll have an answer of who the governor is, but the change in policy, there will be none.
We did get a chance to tour Cedar Crest last night because of the change of governors. So many of us went out there and got to go through the rooms and the multiple floors in the governor's mansion. It was pretty neat. So, and it was cleaned out, so it's going to happen.
Well, Rob, I want to make sure that I was not measuring for new curtains or putting in new carpet yet. It's premature.
You're just visiting.
Just visiting.
Any measurements.
He did have a paint swatch with him, though, Rob. I don't know what that was all about.
But Lieutenant Governor Jeff Collier going to take Sam Brownback's place, and they also had the SEK Day on the Hill up there earlier this week. Were you participants in that?
Yeah, I went over and had breakfast with him yesterday morning, and we always get a good group come up here from our area. They represent Southeast Kansas well, and do a good job promoting the communities in Southeast Kansas. So, the big things on their to-do list, obviously, is Highway 69 and U.S. Highway 169. And those are things that, as revenue comes into the state, since we've restored our tax policy in this state, maybe we can finish that highway like I talked about every time I go anywhere. Finish that 69 highway, make it 4-lane all the way to Oklahoma. So they promote that, Rob, and it was a good day up on the Hill.
And, of course, always conversation, I guess, about the school funding. How's that going?
Jim?
It's challenging right now. The leadership of the conservative Republicans has decided to not do anything until March. They're waiting for an out-of-state expert to tell us what their opinion is. That's frustrating for a lot of legislators who want to get to work right now because that's such an important issue to so many Kansans. But we'll get her done.
Kansans always love someone from another state telling them how to run their business. Yeah. This is a prime example of that. We're waiting on these guys to get a report to tell us that what it seems to be that the leadership here wants to hear. And, our communities down home, they just want their schools open. They want their kids educated. And we've got a good funding formula for that. We just have to fund it, and we'll see how that goes. But we've made a commitment to our children as a state 50, 60 years ago in our Constitution, and we haven't kept up with our job here as a legislature. So we're just putting it down the road another month here, it seems like. It's frustrating, Rob.
I'm talking with Democratic State Representatives Adam Luster of Frontenac and Jim Ward of Wichita. And now what's on the front burner as far as maybe even the rest of this week? And as you said, we talked earlier, Adam, this time of the year, it's really slow. You kind of waiting your way through some things. What are some of the things you're working on?
Well, a big thing for our side of the aisle is transparency. It's actually a bipartisan effort to have our constituents more aware of what goes on here and have some openness in state government. And so there's several bills floating around the Capitol in that regard. I'm on the transportation Transportation Committee, we're having hearings on different road projects, highway projects, and one big thing in regard to highways is a task force that was in Senate Ways and Means last week. I believe this task force was approved by the Senate Ways and Means. It hasn't gone to the floor of the Senate. Then it will come over to our side. I don't know exactly what that task force looks like, but it'll be policymakers, highway builders, constituents, and community input from all around the state. They'll form that task force and see what priorities we have in our next, what I'd call T-Works project, even though T-Works doesn't end, and we'll probably continue with T-Works until we get the projects that are on there done. But there's no expiration. 2020 is not an expiration date for T-Works. It's just it was supposed to be done, and the new project funded by then. But we're not there yet. But that's exciting.
I want to chime in on here. This task force that we're talking about is really important. Since we've decimated T-Works and we've kind of broken all the promises that we made to communities, this is an attempt to repair those relationships and go back to discussing what's best for all parts of the state. What roads do you need? How can we make it better for your economy? And I think this is a very important step to rebuild the highway fund and reinvest in a critical part of our economy.
And that's not a new way of doing things, Rob. That's exactly how the three past programs were built. When we did T-Works pre-2010, all the stakeholders came to the table and they decided what was priorities. They decided how they're going to pay for it and how we funded it. Unfortunately, on the funding part of it, the 4/10 sales tax that goes for the T-Works program has just been robbed to cover a bad tax policy, which I talk about everywhere I go because it was. And we overturned that last year, and Kansas is on the right road now, I think, or will be. It just takes a little time.
Well, Kansas State Representative, Democrats Adam Lusker of Frontenac, Jim Ward of Wichita, thanks for talking with us. And Adam, I'll talk to you again next week.
Hey, Rob, I'd be remiss not to mention my cameraman this week, Representative Eber Phelps from Hays, Kansas. I want to thank Eber for his efforts here at the State House.
An outstanding job. He did good job last week when we interviewed him, but I guess that's a promotion. Being interviewed by me or running the camera. He's running the camera. Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
The pay is the same. 3, 2.
Okay, guys. Well, get to work. If that wasn't enough work right there.
Well, we'll cut this up and make it worthwhile.
How's that getting me in the school district and lower my taxes?
Well, I'm working on that right now.
Okay.
Thanks for the ask.
Hey, I'll talk to you later. Be careful.
All right, Rob. Thanks, buddy. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
He lives in Parkview Addition, which is in Pittsburgh School District, but in Frontenac.